Thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a comment, and please think about subscribing. And hey, remember, watching just 30 seconds of an ad helps us creators more than you know. You're awesome. Have an amazing day. Let's begin.
I, 29F, was expected to finance my stepmother after my dad died. I paid thousands for her birthday party, and wasn't even invited. Hey Reddit. I've never posted here before, but after the past few weeks, I need to get this off my chest. People keep telling me I was too nice or too forgiving, and maybe I was. But no more. Let me start at the beginning. Which was the will reading about 2 years ago. The lawyer's office felt like a dentist's waiting room, only colder. Beige walls. Leather chairs that squeaked every time I shifted. Carol sat beside me in black from head to toe, a little too glossy for someone supposedly mourning. Her nails were freshly done. Her lips painted plum. Amy, Josh, and Brielle were slouched across the room, bored and scrolling through their phones. Not a single one of them looked like they'd lost someone. The lawyer cleared his throat. Mr. Carter's will was amended last year, he said. The house and all its belongings go to Mrs. Carter. His pension, savings, and life insurance will also be distributed to her at her discretion. I blinked. I'm sorry. He said he was leaving the house to me. It was my grandparents. He updated everything in March of last year, the lawyer repeated. Carol reached over and patted my knee like I was a toddler who dropped her ice cream. Your dad just wanted to make sure I'd be okay, sweetheart. You're doing fine on your own, right? I stared at her, stunned. So I get nothing? Well, I'm sure we can work something out, she said breezily. I mean, we're family. Spoiler alert, we did not work anything out. It took me a while to get over the sting of being left out of the will. But by month 6, I was over it. I went back to my life, joined a grief support group, and barely heard from Carol. At first. The request started innocently enough. Carol called me one night while I was cooking dinner. Hi honey, she said, sickly sweet. I hate to ask, but we're a little short this month. The kids are still adjusting. Could you help with groceries? Just this once? I sent $200. Then the next month it was $400 for the electricity. Then $800 because Josh's car broke down and Brielle needs new textbooks. Eventually, I was sending her $1,000 a month. Meanwhile, none of them were working. Amy had a degree in communications and spent her days TikToking her outfits. Josh was too anxious for retail, or any job for that matter. Brielle dropped out of community college and spent her time FaceTiming her boyfriend from bed. I asked Amy once, can't you get a part-time job at least? Her voice turned cold and she responded. That's your job now. Dad's gone. I could practically hear the smirk in her voice. I almost dropped the phone. What did you say? The smugness in her voice immediately changed to contrition. I just meant it's taking longer than I ever expected to get back on our feet. With my old age and health issues. She was in her late 40s, hardly elderly, and as for health issues she told me once she had asthma. I'm have trouble finding employment. She continued. A little context. When my dad was alive, he had been the main breadwinner. Carol didn't need to worry about anything, and neither did her kids. Obviously, he didn't do them any favors by allowing them to be spoiled brats. But I will concede that old habits die hard. It took years for her and her brood to get this entitled, and their journey to independence wouldn't happen overnight. I signed deeply, rubbing my temple. I could feel a headache coming on. Okay Carol, here's the deal. I will continue to help financially, but I need to see effort from your end. There are 4 able-bodied adults living there. Someone needs to get a job to help cover your expenses. I just don't understand. You were left everything from Dad's estate. It was more than enough to live comfortably for a while. You shouldn't have blown through the money so quickly. Yes, I know. I've talked to the kids, and they are well aware of our situation. They are already looking for jobs. We're doing the best we can. That sounded like a complete lie, but I bit down my cynicism. You have to help your family. It's what your dad would have wanted. And there it was, the guilt trip. And just like that I was right back in the cycle. I continued to send money, and she promised me everyone was looking for employment. She even sent confirmation emails from employers, thanking them for applying, to prove her words. The real reason I didn't push is because my dad hasn't been gone for a whole year yet. I felt like they needed a little slack. And there lies the problem. I saw them with pitying eyes, and they saw me as a sucker to lick. 3 months later, Carol invited me out for brunch. She had never asked me out before. I should have known she had ulterior motives. We chatted politely. She asked me how my job at the bank was going. I told her everything was great. I was settling into my new promotion perfectly. Next, she asked about my love life. I quickly dodged the question. The last thing I want to do was discuss my love life with Carol. Eventually she got to the real reason she invited me out. 50 is a milestone, Carol declared over French toast and chicken tenders. I want to go all out this year for my birthday. We're talking a real event, champagne tower, live jazz band, charcuterie for days. And of course, custom invitations. Gold embossed. I blinked. That sounds expensive. She smiled. But worth it. I was thinking you could help out, just the big stuff. You're doing so well now, and I know your dad would have wanted me to feel celebrated. I felt cornered. Grief is a strange thing. It makes you want to do things to feel connected to the people you lost. I kept thinking, Dad would want me to be kind. So I helped her out. First, a $500 deposit on a venue downtown. Not too bad considering. But then it got worse. $1,300 for a designer dress that she just had to have. $600 for catering. $500 for a cake that looked like it belonged on Bridgerton. She'd send me itemized texts with no context. Venmo me $425 for the flowers. Cake deposit due Friday. Handle it? No please. No thank you. Just commands. And I kept paying. I know. I was a fool, and this could never be you. I just wanted peace, and I thought throwing money at her was the easiest way to get it. Also, she was very important to my dad. My emotions were still raw. Any piece of him left I wanted to keep close. I didn't realize what I really needed was a therapist, not a lazy gold-digging stepmother. The party was Saturday. On Friday, I texted Carol, "What time should I come tomorrow to help set up?" No response. I tried calling around 3 p.m. She didn't pick up. I left a voicemail. Still nothing. I called Amy. "Hey," I said. "What time's everything happening tomorrow?" A pause. "Wait," she said, her tone shifting. You're not invited?" My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" "Carol said she didn't want to stress you out with the planning stuff anymore. She said it might be awkward, since you've been acting weird about money." "Weird?" I snapped. "I paid for the whole damn thing." Amy scoffed. "You didn't have to. She never forced you. I sent thousands. She said you'd be dramatic." I guess she was right. I hung up with Amy. I tried calling Carol again. This time, it went straight to voicemail. This had to be a joke. Someone wouldn't be that cruel. Forget about the audacity and heartlessness of the situation for a second. Someone wouldn't be that stupid, right? How did she think I would respond? She obviously took my passiveness about the financial favors as me being a complete pushover. It was never that. My father didn't raise me that way, and she knew this. She has been in my life for the last 16 years. She used my grief and manipulated what little emotional bond we had. My eyes were wide open now. My father loved me. Of course, he would have wanted us to all get along, but this wasn't a peaceful existence. He never would have wanted me to be used like this. I needed to rectify this situation quickly. I was going to the party. I didn't care if it was immature. The next night, I drove over to the venue. I needed to see it for myself. The party was being held at a beautiful 5-star hotel on the riverfront. I had been there once before for an office party. The whole place was intricate crown molding, gold trim everywhere, and marble tile that you could see your reflection in. I pulled up to the valet, let them take my car, and proceeded in. Music pulsed from the hall. Luckily, there wasn't a host checking names. I pushed open the door and walked in. I spotted Carol right away. She stood in the center of the room draped in her $1,300 sequin gown. She was holding a champagne flute and taking selfies with Brielle. Our eyes locked as I made my way over to her. "Oh," she said. "You weren't supposed to be here." "You think?" I snapped. "You're being really ungrateful right now," Amy hissed from behind me. She must have noticed my arrival and made her way over to confront me. "Ungrateful? I paid for this circus." Carol's face tightened. "You offered." "I never made you. You manipulated me. Every single step of the way." Josh wandered over with a plate of crab cakes. His eyes were a little bloodshot, and his breath smelled of tequila. "Can y'all not do this in the middle of the party? People are starting to stare." "You mean the party I paid for that you're all enjoying while I wasn't even invited to the dinner? You've been so negative lately. All you do is complain about your money and pressure us to get jobs." "I'm sick of it," Carol said, swishing her champagne. "I didn't want bad vibes here. Now, if you'd so kindly leave, we can get back to enjoying ourselves." I looked around the room. The guests were starting to whisper. Many looked me up and down like I was a homeless woman that just barged in. I looked at the custom centerpieces, the catered hors d'oeuvres, the live jazz duo warming up, and I saw red. "You are not my family. You are leeches." Gasps sounded from around the room. "I'm done," I said. "No more money. Don't contact me again unless it's to apologize and repay every dime." I walked out to stunned silence. A week went by after the party. I'd blocked Carol, Amy, Josh, and Brielle. But not before they flooded me with messages. "Carol, you humiliated me. Your dad would be ashamed. Amy, you're literally psycho. Josh, a voice note threatening to take me to court for emotional damages." I laughed harder than I had in months. I filed to get all the Venmo records and invoices. I'm meeting with a lawyer to see if I have a case to sue for fraud or reimbursement. Even if I don't, I'm done being their piggy bank. For the first time since my dad died, I feel like I'm really letting go. Grief made me easy to manipulate. But I'm wide awake now. Hell, I don't know if they ever really cared about me. Yeah, I've known them since I was 13, but there was never a real connection there. We were all just tolerating each other for Dad's sake, but now that he's gone, what's the point, especially if there is no love lost? People have asked me if I feel guilty for cutting them off, and the truth is I don't. There's no reason they can't fend for themselves. They just don't want to. They are no longer my concern. I wish them luck. Update, 1 month. Hey Reddit, remember me? The woman who paid thousands for her stepmother's over-the-top birthday party, only to find out I wasn't invited and was used like a cash machine after my dad died? Yeah, that whole mess. Well, things have escalated way beyond what I could have ever imagined. I'll give you the short version, but it's wild. So after I cut them all off, I was feeling great. I'm talking about long, peaceful nights of sleep, zero drama, and finally, some financial breathing room. I was moving on with my life. Then, about 2 weeks later, I opened an envelope that almost made me choke on my coffee. It was a letter from a lawyer. The subject? Legal action for emotional distress and financial manipulation. I stared at it for a good 5 minutes, waiting for someone to pop out from behind the curtains and yell gotcha. But no. Apparently, this was real. The lawsuit claimed that I emotionally harmed Carol by publicly humiliating her at her birthday party, and that the money I'd sent her was a gift, not a loan. There was also some ridiculous claim about undue influence over her, and a demand for $50,000 in damages. Now, I'm no legal expert, but I knew this was absolute nonsense. I texted my lawyer friend, and he laughed for a solid 15 seconds before telling me to just ignore it. Apparently, Carol had hired the most incompetent lawyer in town. It's like he Googled how to sue someone for drama and followed the first link. But here's the kicker. Carol actually tried to serve me the lawsuit in person. She and Amy showed up at my work. Imagine it. A Tuesday afternoon, I'm sitting at my desk going over some risk reports before I process some trade confirmations when boom, I hear my office door swing open. I look up and see none other than Carol standing there with Amy at her side. Amy's holding up a piece of paper like it was some kind of treasure. "Hello, darling." Carol chirps, all fake sweetness. "I thought you'd want to know we're formally suing you. You've caused so much distress to my poor, broken heart." I quickly get up and usher them into my office. I didn't really want them inside my space, but I didn't want anyone noticing their scene either. Luckily, my office was a bit of a ways away from the tellers. I was hoping none of our customers heard her. Once the door was closed, I took a couple of steadying breaths. I felt the sweat creeping down my back as I tried to keep my composure. "Carol," I said, voice shaking from the insane level of rage I was suddenly holding back, "are you seriously doing this here?" She shrugged, not even a hint of shame. "I thought you'd appreciate knowing firsthand. Also, this is proof that you were emotionally abusive. I'll make sure to tell everyone in your little bank about this lawsuit, too. You don't want a reputation as a bully, do you?" She had lost her freaking mind. Instead of going off on her like I wanted, I simply smirked. "You really think this is going to work? You're clowning yourself right now." Amy, clearly fed up with being ignored, piped up. "You've been so rude lately. Why can't you just apologize and admit you've been horrible? What's that you keep waving around, another lawyer's letter?" "That doesn't intimidate me, Amy. You really expect me to apologize for cutting off a bunch of leeches who've never worked a day in their lives?" "Sure, let me get right on that." I took the envelope out of Amy's hands, ripped it in half, and let the pieces fall to the floor. "Take this back to your lawyer. Tell him I said thanks for the laugh. Now, get the hell out of my workplace." Carol's eyes widened in fury, and Amy, bless her, looked like she was about to combust from rage. But they didn't say another word. They turned on their heels and stormed out of my office. I listened anxiously for a couple of minutes to see if they would cause a scene on the main floor, but I didn't hear anything. I plopped down in my chair, contemplating getting a restraining order on them. Now, I thought that was the end of it. I really did, but then Carol called me later that night. "Are you really this evil?" she sobbed on the phone, her voice cracking with fake tears. "Do you hate me so much that you want me to lose everything? You can't just cut us off." I wasn't in the mood for another round of this nonsense. "Honestly, Carol? No, I don't hate you. But I am done supporting you and your kids. I've spent the past year bending over backward to keep you guys afloat. You were never grateful, never acknowledged my help, never even pretended to like me. So forgive me if I'm not exactly shedding tears for your plight. You ruined my life." Her voice grew cold. "Don't be surprised when I come for you harder. I have connections, you know. You'll regret this." I didn't even flinch. "I'm not scared of you. And you're not going to win this, trust me." I hung up. And that was the last I heard from her or her children. The lawsuit was a total joke, and I'm convinced they've given up. As for me? I've been posting a ton of pictures from my new life. Vacations, nights out with friends, enjoying my peace. I love seeing ex-family scroll through my social media, knowing they're stewing in jealousy. Turns out, cutting toxic people out of your life feels really good. I've moved on, and that chapter is officially closed. So yeah, Reddit, that's the saga. Moral of the story? Don't let leeches suck you dry. Don't be afraid to say no. Grief can be a very dangerous emotion. Be careful when it inevitably comes knocking. Keep yourself surrounded by people who genuinely love you and beware of those who don't.